In this world, people blessed with the power to fight monsters are known as raiders. They take on the terrifying task of hunting down demons, collecting rare treasures hidden deep within dungeons, and protecting humanity from monstrous threats. It's a dangerous line of work, but despite the risks, raiders are celebrated as heroes. They're admired by the public, respected by society, and envied by many. After all, the idea of slaying monsters and returning with piles of treasure is thrilling. But not everyone who dreams of becoming a hero gets to live that life. And those who fail to make it can't help but feel jealous of the ones who did. Our story begins inside a seemingly calm public restaurant. Everything is quiet until suddenly, someone starts yelling at the top of their lungs. That someone is our protagonist, Jae Hyun. Jae is absolutely furious. He's just been told that the only reason he's being hired for a raid is to act as a meat shield, a disposable frontliner, cannon fodder. Sitting across from him, the guy in glasses tells him to calm down. He reminds Jae that he's the one who came looking for a quick-paying job. And right now, this is the only one available. Jae doesn't like it, but the truth is, he doesn't have a choice. Then, Jae reveals something to us. The guy in glasses is actually a young woman who works at a raider agency. His job is to connect freelancers like Jae, who aren't part of any official guild, with available raid gigs. When Young Woo-on, the young woman, reached out, Jae thought he'd finally landed something decent. A good-paying job, maybe even an easy run. But instead, he's being sent into a dungeon. Jae sighs, frustrated. He can't help but wonder, why is this the only job left for him? Especially when other raiders with lower ranks are getting high-paying gigs. The young man reminds Jae Hyun that although his martial arts class is elite, job offers for it are rare. This frustrates Jae Hyun further, as he questions if he's being looked down upon, simply because he's a martial arts raider. The guy with glasses hesitantly agrees and explains that magic users dominate the industry because they complete jobs faster and suffer fewer injuries, factors that employers care about. Unlike mages who stay at a safe distance, martial arts raiders fight up close, which naturally results in more injuries. This is why, in practical combat, mages are preferred. The man adds that around 10 years ago, martial arts raiders were in high demand, but that time has long passed. He even regrets not choosing the mage path when he had the chance. The story flashes back to 11 years ago, Jae Hyun's third year of high school, when he scored an incredible 97% in the Awakened Aptitude Evaluation for mages. That score was nearly perfect, much higher than top students like Lady Sioina, who only scored around 92%. On the other hand, his martial arts aptitude was a low 34%. Despite this, he made the irrational decision to choose the martial path, not out of any noble cause, but simply a foolish choice. Jae Hyun simply didn't want to become a mage back then. At the time, mages had a bad reputation. They were seen as weak supporters who couldn't even deal with low-rank monsters without help from martial arts raiders. But now, the situation has completely reversed. Mages are in high demand, and martial arts raiders are becoming obsolete. Looking back, if Jae Hyun had chosen the mage path 11 years ago, his life would likely be very different. Unfortunately, it's too late to switch now, as raiders stop growing in power after age 20. There's no point in regretting the past. What's done is done. The young man reminds Jae Hyun that opportunities like this don't come often anymore, so he shouldn't be picky. He admits he originally had someone else in mind for the job, but chose Jae Hyun instead because he thought of him. This strikes Jae Hyun with a bitter sense of irony. Once a prodigy with near-perfect aptitude for magic, he's now reduced to a mere D-rank martial arts raider due to one poor decision. Left with no better choice, Jae Hyun finally agrees to take the job. His friend is delighted, assuring him it's the right decision. As Jae Hyun prepares to leave, the manager says they'll meet again at 8 a.m. the next day, and the address is already on his phone. Jae Hyun is surprised the manager himself will be present, but he casually responds that he has other business there too. The next day arrives, and people start gathering. Jae Hyun waits alone outside a dungeon gate, checking the time anxiously. The young man who promised to show up is still missing, which makes him uneasy. He sighs, wondering why someone as powerful as that A-rank mage even bothers hanging around a raider agency when he could easily join a top guild. If Jae Hyun had that kind of power, he wouldn't waste it. As he drifts into his thoughts, a voice in his mind calls him a useless bastard, a reflection of his own inner self-doubt. Before he can dwell on it, someone calls out to him. It's Mongho, his friend, fully suited up in armor. They exchange casual banter, with Mongho expressing pride in being a martial arts raider. He criticizes mages as weaklings who just stand in the back throwing fireballs, while martial artists are the real deal. But Jae-hun doesn't share this sentiment. He feels the reality is harsh. Martial raiders can barely afford to eat, let alone feel cool. Trying to lift the mood, Mongho suggests they grab a drink after the raid. Jae-hun agrees, but immediately admits he's broke. Mongho reminds him that he paid last time, and it's Jae-hun's turn. Jae-hun awkwardly laughs, but Mongho, noticing his situation, generously agrees to pay again. Jae-hun laughs and apologizes, while secretly thinking Mongho is just too easy to convince. Suddenly, an authoritative voice interrupts them, announcing that everyone should gather at the dungeon entrance. They'll be entering in 30 minutes. As the raiders are told to gather, a wave of tension spreads through the group, including Jae-hun. Everyone seems uneasy, possibly due to the commanding attitude of the new guy giving orders. Mongho returns to his party to prepare, while Jae-hun stays behind, nervously checking his phone over and over as they wait for the raid to begin. During this moment, we learn an important fact about dungeon raids. There are two major dangers raiders must be cautious of. The first is unexpected treasure. When raiders stumble upon valuable loot, excitement and greed can cloud their judgment. That's when dungeons strike back, testing those blinded by desire. In most cases, those tests end in disaster. Just as we're about to hear the second danger, the armored guy interrupts again. He notices Jae-hun glued to his phone and tells him to stop messing around. It's time to move out. He then jokes that Jae-hun is probably staring at a picture of his girlfriend. Jae-hun casually brushes it off, revealing that he was actually looking at a picture of his mom. After a quick word to her, Jae-hun takes a deep breath and steps into the dungeon. Inside the dungeon, roles quickly fall into place. The mages stay at the back, clutching their wands, while the martial raiders, like Jae-hun, are forced to take the front lines. Suddenly, grotesque ghouls appear and chaos erupts. An arrogant mage starts barking orders at the frontliners, telling them to form up, even if it means putting their lives on the line. This is exactly the part of the job Jae-hun hates, taking orders from smug mages who treat martial raiders like disposable pawns. The mages begin chanting and unleash a flurry of fireballs, scorching the ghouls with terrifying efficiency. Watching them, Jae-hun wonders if these powerful magic users are from the Meteor Guild, once a rookie guild, now seemingly far stronger. Though he's unsure, one thing is clear: with this kind of backup, it probably isn't his day to die. As the team takes a short break, Mongho gulps down some water and reminds everyone that the real challenge lies ahead, defeating the dungeon boss. Laughing, he complains about getting older and not being able to keep up like he used to. Then, in a cheerful tone, he asks Jae-hun if he got any item drops. Hopeful since A-rank dungeons usually give decent loot. Curious, Jae-hun decides to check his system window, but the moment he opens it, it starts glitching. A sharp headache hits him as an error message appears. The IR system is down, and his connection will be temporarily disconnected. Another message follows, saying the system failed to reboot due to unknown reasons. Jae-hun is completely lost. He's never experienced anything like this before. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoes in his mind, telling him to follow the light. Startled, he turns to see his system glitching again. A warning pops up. An unknown entity has infiltrated the system. Safe mode restoration failed. Jae-hun has no idea what any of it means. Noticing his worried expression, the old man nearby asks if something's wrong. Jae-hun vaguely responds that someone, or something, told him to follow the light. Just then, glowing bubbles of light appear in front of him, as if responding to the message. No one else seems to notice them. The old man questions Jae-hun's odd behavior, but Jae-hun keeps his eyes locked on the floating lights. Unsure but determined, he swallows his fear and decides to investigate. When asked where he's going, he simply replies, "I'll be back soon." Following the mysterious light, Jae-hun eventually arrives at a strange, unfamiliar place. As soon as he gets there, his system window appears, but it's not normal. A message states that the asura system has been disabled, and the status window can't be loaded. He tries to interact with it, but nothing responds. Another message pops up, saying the system has suffered partial damage and will attempt to reboot in safe mode. Jae-hun is baffled. Ever since he awakened at age 10, his system has always worked flawlessly. For 17 years, there's never been a glitch, no damage, no reboots, nothing like this. He begins to wonder if that mysterious voice telling him to follow the light is somehow connected to the system failure. Even as the system continues to glitch and repeat its error messages, Jae-hun presses forward, following the light. He senses something is changing, something within the asura system itself. A bit of background. The asura system is named after the Asur, the gods from Norse mythology, like Odin and Thor. It's believed the system originated from these divine beings and became humanity's last hope during the catastrophic year of disaster in 2011. That year, a colossal tree suddenly sprouted in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. In just 9 days, it grew to an unimaginable height, casting a literal and symbolic shadow over the world. That monstrous tree from 2011? It was none other than Yggdrasil, the mythical world tree. On the 9th day of its growth, chaos erupted worldwide. A massive wave of monsters was unleashed, wiping out half of humanity. The survivors faced famine, plagues, and despair. But from that darkness, heroes arose. Humans awakened with divine powers. They brought hope, and eventually, more people awakened their asura systems, becoming raiders to fight back. Since then, asura has been humanity's greatest weapon against the monsters. Now, Jae-hun fears that this very system, the thing that once saved humanity, might be changing. And if it is, it may not be for the better. As he walks deeper, he suddenly hits a dead end, but right before him stands a green door. He's stunned at first, then realizes with excitement that it's a treasure gate. These ultra-rare secret rooms rarely appear, even in high-level dungeons. They're known to hold powerful items and rare materials worth millions in one. The local currency. Jae-hun's heart races. If he can get an A-rank item, or better, it could change his life overnight. He silently prays for luck and steps inside. The space feels surreal, almost divine, like some kind of celestial registry. On a pedestal before him lies a glowing item. Jae-hun had only ever heard rumors about rooms like this, and now he's standing in one. Excited, he reaches out. The moment his fingers touch the item, system notifications flood his vision. 1. System feature successfully restored. 2. New equipment discovered. 3. View item details. Jae-hun has no idea what's coming, but his life is about to change forever. Grinning from ear to ear, Jae-hun feels like his prayer may have been answered. As he holds the mysterious item, the system panel finally reveals its identity, Odin's lost eye, a mythical ranked artifact. It once belonged to Odin, the strongest of the asura gods, sacrificed at Mimir's well for divine wisdom. The artifact is jaw-droppingly powerful. Once equipped, it allows the user to learn rune writing, use reverse magic to dismantle spells, and permanently unlock its powers. The eye is so radiant that Jae-hun can't even look at it directly. He reads the system panel. The eye grants an X-ranked active skill called Absolute Calculation, a terrifying ability that can analyze and destroy the structure of any magic. The stronger the spell, the more mana it consumes. But that's not all. Complete mastery of rune magic means Jae-hun can cast spells silently, without chanting. It also allows him to copy enemy skills using a blank skill card. This single item has the power to completely transform Jae-hun from a D-rank martial arts raider into something far greater. But then, a more practical thought crosses his mind. He could sell it. A mythical item like this would easily fetch hundreds of millions of won in the market. That would mean no more risky raids, no more being a frontline meat shield, and finally, a way out of his miserable life. Still, his curiosity tempts him to try it on. He's never even touched a mythical item before. But the system quickly warns him. Once equipped, the item is bound to him forever. There's no going back. Jae-hun ultimately decides not to equip Odin's eye. He knows that, despite its power, he's already past the age 20 for fully syncing with gear of this level. He'd never be able to use it to its true potential. So, he chooses not to bind it to himself, and begins making his way back to the party. Elsewhere, the old man reassures the others that Jae-hun will return. Right on cue, Jae-hun shows up and quickly apologizes to the party leader for being late, promising it won't happen again. As the team gets ready to move out, the old man pats Jae-hun's chest with encouragement. Jae-hun, now unusually upbeat, cheerfully declares that drinks are on him tonight. This catches the old man off guard. He's surprised by Jae-hun's sudden mood shift, but doesn't question it. Meanwhile, Jae-hun silently feels relieved. In dungeons, greed kills. Admitting he found a mythical item could easily make him a target. Even his own friends might turn on him. So, he keeps quiet and avoids suspicion. Suddenly, the ceiling begins to crack. Before anyone can react, it collapses with a deafening crash. Jae-hun instinctively leaps away but hits the ground hard, possibly bruising himself in the process. Purple mist begins to flood the area. The party starts coughing violently, blood pouring from their mouths. Jae-hun quickly covers his mouth and flees, realizing the fog is poisonous. He yells at his friends to escape, trying to warn them. But then, something terrifying happens. Jae-hun freezes as he sees one of his friends get impaled by a sword, stabbed by an unseen assailant. In his final moments, the dying friend urges Jae-hun to run. Paralyzed by shock, Jae-hun barely gathers himself and starts running, his heart pounding. As he flees, he replays everything in his head: the sudden collapse, the toxic gas, the unexpected attack, and it dawns on him. This wasn't an accident. This was a trap, an elaborate murder plot. After narrowly escaping death, Jae-hun finally stops to catch his breath. His face is drenched in sweat, and his mind is racing. Why was someone trying to kill them? Who would orchestrate such a brutal ambush inside a dungeon? Just then, he senses a presence behind him. He spins around, only for a fiery arrow to shoot past, not aimed at him, but crashing into the ground ahead, causing a massive explosion. As the smoke clears, Jae-hun spots a figure in a hoodie stepping forward. To his shock, it's Young Woo-on, the same guy who offered him the raid job. Young casually charges energy into his fingertip and reminds Jae-hun that he had promised to meet him today. And well, here he is. Jae-hun, still stunned, demands answers. Was this all you're doing? The poison fog? The attack on the Meteor Guild? Young smirks without hesitation and shamelessly admits, yes, he was behind it all. Though angry, Jae-hun forces himself to stay calm. He needs to understand what's going on before making any rash moves. He asks why Young did it. Young just shrugs. I was paid to, he replies coolly. He explains that many people despise the Meteor Guild for their arrogance and superiority complex. It was only a matter of time before someone took action against them. Hearing this, Jae-hun's teeth clench. He tells us about dungeon assassination contracts, an underground system where murderers exploit the lawless nature of dungeons to eliminate their targets. No witnesses, no consequences. Apparently, the Meteor Guild wasn't innocent either. They'd been involved in shady contracts themselves. Now, someone had decided to return the favor. As Jae-hun stands there, his shoulder throbs in pain, a reminder of the arrow that grazed him earlier. The betrayal stings even more. Jae-hun knows he's outmatched. Young Woo-on is an A-rank mage, one of the top 2% geniuses in the country. Meanwhile, Jae-hun is just a mid to low-rank raider, barely scraping by. Even though he isn't the main target, he knows the rule of assassinations: tie up all loose ends. Deep down, a fire burns in Jae-hun. He wants revenge for his fallen comrades, especially Manhwa, but now isn't the time for reckless heroics. Instead, he keeps his composure and tells Young that he won't breathe a word about the Meteor Guild incident. But Young Woo-on isn't interested in promises. Without hesitation, the crazed mage launches a chain of fire straight at Jae-hun. He narrowly dodges, but the blast grazes his face, burning his skin. He realizes just how close he was to death. A single moment slower, and he'd be dead. The assault continues. Fiery chains fly at him again and again, forcing Jae-hun to run for his life, dodging relentlessly. There's no time to think. Only instinct and survival as the inferno chases him through the dungeon's twisted corridors. As Jae-hun runs for his life, he can't understand why he's even being targeted. He's just a D-rank raider. Nothing special, certainly not worth this kind of effort. His body is taking a beating, bruises forming across his face as the relentless fire. Magic keeps coming. Then, that voice resurfaces in his head, the cruel, belittling voice that's haunted him for years. Useless fool. Why do you even exist? It's the same voice that always shows up in his lowest moments. And now, it becomes clear. It's his father. Something clicks in Jae-hun's mind. He suddenly yells out, "Is he the one behind this assassination attempt?" The man in glasses, Young Woo-won, pauses, momentarily surprised. Then he starts chuckling. That chuckle quickly escalates into maniacal laughter. He confirms it. Yes, Jae-hun's father is behind it. Jae-hun stands frozen, shocked and speechless. His thoughts are consumed by the memory of his mother, her gentle smile, and the day he broke down in tears beside her lifeless body. Fueled by emotion, Jae-hun demands, "Did he also order the assassination of my mother? 5 years ago, during winter." The man in glasses, Young Woo-won, grimly confirms Jae-hun's worst fear. Yes, his own father ordered the deaths of both his wife and son. Even Young, who carried out the order, admits he can't understand why a father would do such a thing. With a smirk, Young readies another fiery arrow, mocking Jae-hun's tragic situation. Then, with a chilling calmness, he conjures an entire barrage of flaming arrows, prepared to wipe Jae-hun off the map. Before launching them, he offers a final, cold farewell. Jae-hun stands in silence for a moment, then activates Odin's eye. In an instant, everything changes. The confident smile on Young's face vanishes, replaced by disbelief. Magical energy begins to surge through Jae-hun, intense, raw, and growing stronger by the second. Young watches in horror as Jae-hun's body pulses with power, a martial artist now radiating a mage's might. Realizing the threat, Young panics and launches a fiery arrow directly at him. But Jae-hun doesn't move. He doesn't flinch. He just stares forward. As the arrow nears, it suddenly disintegrates into nothing, completely erased. Young Woo-won is shocked speechless. His mouth hangs open in disbelief. The system confirms it. Odin's eye mythical artifact activated. The tides have turned. A confident smirk creeps across Jae-hun's face. That overwhelming surge of magical power is still coursing through his body. The system window pops up again, blank skill card available. Meanwhile, Young Woo-won is losing his mind. He can't believe his magic was completely nullified. Without hesitation, Jae-hun uses the blank card, copying Young Woo-won's powerful skill, Blitz Chain, and then, with chilling clarity, he tells Young, "You're going to die a painful death." In the next instant, Jae-hun conjures his own fiery arrow barrage, now powered by stolen magic. Young Woo-won stares in disbelief. How is this lowly, D-rank raider using a technique that took years to master? Though clearly rattled, Young tries to bluff, warning that taking him down won't be easy. But Jae-hun is relentless, unleashing a barrage of magic that forces the once cocky mage to turn and run. As Young Woo-won attempts to counter with a massive blitz chain attack, Jae-hun activates absolute calculation. The spell disintegrates instantly in midair, and Jae fires back without hesitation. Young scrambles, throwing up a magical barrier in desperation. But Jae-hun isn't finished. He uses absolute calculation again. The barrier shatters like glass. Young Woo-won is left wide open. Jae's arrow strikes him directly, too fast to dodge and too powerful to withstand. As the dust settles, Jae-hun walks up to the fallen Young Woo-won, who now lies pathetic and begging for mercy, like a scene ripped from a bad drama. Tears stream down his face, but Jae-hun isn't moved. There's no sympathy left in him. With cold finality, he fires one last flaming arrow, ending the fight, and Young Woo-won, with a single blow. Exhausted and wounded, Jae-hun collapses to the ground. His body's trembling, not just from the fight, but from everything he's just been through. He chuckles bitterly to himself. "I finally got a mythic item, and this is how I go out." As a raider, death had always loomed nearby. But now that it's staring him directly in the face, it's more terrifying than ever. The cold begins to creep in. His vision fades. Then, out of nowhere, a system window appears. A new prompt. Norner system detected. Option: time rewind available. It offers a way out, a chance to jump back to the past. He smirks faintly, out of breath, and mutters, "Yeah, sure. Let's do this." And with that command, the Norner system activates. Suddenly, he finds himself in a surreal space, standing before divine-looking women, speaking in a strange, unknowable tongue. A blonde lady extends her hand toward him, and just as she grabs his, the once friendly system UI turns blood red. Warning: you have become a major enemy of the High Aesir. 2 passive skills unlocked. Half of the Aesir gods are now monitoring you. Then, blackout. Jae-hun jolts awake, in his own bed. He's gasping, drenched in sweat, eyes wide with fear. Everything feels off, unreal. He looks at his palm, where a small red fiery orb begins to form. The system chimes again. You have successfully returned to the chosen time period. Suddenly, memories flood back. The pain, the betrayal, his fallen comrades, his mother's death, and the fight against Young Wuan. Then he sees her, his mother, alive. Without a second thought, Jae-hun rushes to hug her, gripping tightly as if she might vanish again. He doesn't want to let go. He prays it's not a dream, but it's real. He actually made it back. And his mother is alive. Once alone in his room, a sharp pain jolts through Jae-hun's chest, snapping him back to reality. The system window pops up, confirming the date. November 15th, 2020. He's officially regressed 11 years into the past, and his body is already 20% healed. Still breathing heavily, he looks around. Everything is so familiar. His old home, his old room. Is this really happening? He whispers. Another system notification appears. Quest: a break is the mother of success. Objective: rest until full recovery. Reward: 1 blank card. Jae-hun exhales slowly, trying to calm the chaos inside him. He reflects on what just happened, dying in a dungeon, being betrayed, and somehow returning to this moment in time. It's 2020 again, the year he was in 3rd year of middle school, right before everything changed. Checking his calendar, he realizes something. He hasn't enrolled in Mills Academy yet. That's the elite school for future raiders. He notices a note left by his past self, clearly urging him to choose the martial arts. Class again. Without hesitation, he grabs a pen and violently scratches it out. No way I'm repeating that mistake. This time, I'm going to be a mage. Later that day, we see Jae-hun sitting at the dinner table with his mother, struggling to hold back the tears in his eyes. She's alive, and it feels surreal. She watches him with quiet concern. Earlier that day, he had hugged her tightly, breaking down in tears. She noticed the strange behavior and gently asks, "Is something wrong, sweetheart?" Jay forces a smile. Just a nightmare. That's all. But deep down, he knows those memories of her death weren't dreams. They were real, from the timeline he left behind. Finally, he gathers the courage to speak. "Mom, there's something I want to talk about." She listens attentively. It becomes clear she already senses his hesitation. She softly says, "You don't have to enroll in Moo's Academy if you don't want to. I know how dangerous that path can be." Her words are gentle, full of warmth and love, the kind that he missed so desperately in the last timeline. Jae-hun nods, silently making a vow to himself. This time, he'll protect her. This time, he won't fail. Jae-hun's mother gently tells him that he doesn't have to force himself into a difficult path. If he wants to, he can simply enroll in a regular school. She won't impose anything on him. But to her surprise, Jae-hun says something completely unexpected. He wants to switch majors and enroll in the magic class instead. She chuckles at his sudden change of heart, visibly startled. Just a few days ago, he was so determined to join the martial arts major. Still, she trusts her son. If he's made this decision, she knows he must have a reason. With a gentle pat on his cheek, she smiles and says, "No matter what you choose, martial arts or magic, do what makes you happy. And don't worry about the money. I'll support you fully." Her warmth and trust hit Jae-hun right in the heart. He breaks down in tears again, overwhelmed by emotion. At that moment, memories of his father, Miniongo, an A-rank raider, flash through his mind. His resolve hardens. He's not just doing this for himself anymore. He wants revenge. The next thing we see, Jae-hun training hard, doing push-ups, building his physique. His muscles begin to tighten, his stamina increases. He even completes his first quest and earns a blank skill card as a reward. Though Jae-hun isn't fully sure what the Norner system is or how deep it goes, he's not complaining. As long as it keeps working, he can use his knowledge from the past to get ahead, hoarding dungeon loot, guiding raids, and avoiding deadly mistakes. For now, he doesn't have a huge arsenal of powers, just his martial arts training and two powerful skills. Absolute calculation. Blitz chain, stolen from Yung Wuan. But that's enough for now, because this time, he's going to rewrite everything. Jae-hun leans back in his chair, summoning the system window to check his current stats. As expected, his level has reset to match the current timeline, but there's a surprise. Despite the reset, all his passive skills from his past life are still intact. And not only that, two new powerful passives are now maxed out. One who is observed by the gods, Supreme God's Eye, combined with his previously acquired skills, Absolute Calculation and Blitz Chain. He's starting to look way stronger than any average middle schooler. Curious, Jae-hun dives deeper into the details. Cyclone 1 who is observed by the gods. This passive grants rapid growth through divine blessings. It's also the reason why he retained all his skills after regression. Nothing reset. Even better, for every level up, all his stats gain +1 extra point. But there's a catch. Because of this skill, most of the Aesir demigods are now watching him. Every move he makes might have divine eyes on it. I Supreme God's Eye. This is another broken passive. It lets him see through lies, illusions, and hidden truths. Nothing can fool him. Perfect for someone planning to survive political schemes, assassinations, and betrayal. Then he reviews his active skill, Blitz Chain. This attack fires electrified chains, with a chance to paralyze enemies. And yes, initially we all thought they were fiery chains, but turns out, they're electric. The more chains he launches, the more mana it consumes, so it's deadly but costly. Lastly, he glances at his base stats. They're still weak, abysmal, even. But he isn't discouraged. His eyes zero in on the magic stat, his priority. If he's going mage this time, magic power is everything. And let's not forget endurance. He remembers those long, grinding battles from his past life. You need stamina to survive when a raid drags on. Jae-hun knows. He may be starting over. But with this knowledge and power, he won't be weak for long. After thinking things through, Jae-hun makes a strategic decision. He'll use his newly earned blank card to copy a healing skill. He already has a powerful offensive move, Blitz Chain. So now he wants balance. And in this timeline, even in 2020, when mages still get overlooked, healers are treated like royalty. Wherever they go, they're respected, praised, and incredibly valuable, not just in raids, but socially and politically too. So Jae-hun figures, if I can become a mage with healing powers, no one will look down on me again. But here's the problem. Finding a healer to copy is no easy task. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack. He remembers how, in his previous life, he burned a blank card recklessly just to survive against Yung Wuan. He regrets it. This time, he vows to be smarter. He has no clue how many cards the system will ever grant him. So everyone counts. Suddenly, his phone rings. He checks it, and his eyes widen at the name, Kim Yoo-jun. She's not just a classmate. She was his childhood friend, his partner in crime. And in his past life, she died in his arms. That memory still stings. But this time, he'll protect her. He won't let her die. She's inviting him to attend a seminar by Saint Tess Yeongan, a legendary mage known for her rare and powerful magic, especially the magic of sacrifice. Jae-hun smirks as he reads the message. This might be my chance. Without hesitation, he grabs his hoodie and tells his mom he'll be back soon. Once outside, he shoots a quick text to Yoo-jun. On my way. As he heads out. Elsewhere, a luxurious black Rolls-Royce blazes through heavy traffic, slicing through the streets with purpose. Something big is about to happen. Saint Yeongan sits quietly, surrounded by aides and a flurry of updates from her manager. He's clearly worried. She's been pushing herself too hard, and even her magic can't offset the toll that continuous self-sacrifice takes. But she brushes off his concern, gently reminding him. Sacrifice magic comes at a cost, giving up one's own vitality. Still, her manager can't shake the fear. Without someone who can heal her, even someone like Lady Shanjuan, it's only a matter of time before her body starts giving out. Meanwhile, Jae-hun and Kim Yoo-jun finally arrive at the seminar venue. Yoo-jun seems a little too excited, practically dragging him through the bustling crowd. He smirks and teases her. You sure you brought me just for the lecture? Or were you afraid of getting lost again? Her silence and embarrassed face say it all. He pokes fun again. Smartest girl I know, yet no sense of direction. She scolds him, but he knows. He's thankful to her deep down. Because today, standing in front of Saint Yongan, he might just unlock the game-changing sacrifice ability. If he succeeds in copying her skill, it could catapult him to the top ranks, giving him unmatched status in Korea's magical world. As the crowd settles, both of them look on in awe. Saint Yongan's presence is overwhelming, and it's easy to see why. She's not just a renowned healer. She's the Guild Master of Lotus, one of the most respected names in the nation. Saint Yongan takes the stage to thunderous applause. A top-tier healer, she's admired not just in Korea, but around the world. Even in this early era, before raiders were treated like expendable tools, she's always prioritized the safety of others over herself. As she steps onto the platform, the crowd roars with excitement. Jae-hun, standing in the audience, watches intensely, waiting for the perfect moment to copy her ability. 2 months from now, he recalls grimly, she'll collapse during a dungeon raid, all because of overusing her sacrificial healing magic. Jae-hun knows the tragic future that awaits her. And now that he's returned to the past, he may be the only one capable of saving her. If he can copy her skill, he might even become her savior. Beside him, Kim Yoo-jun is hyped beyond belief. Her excitement is loud and unfiltered, which Jae-hun finds a little annoying. But deep down, he's glad she's still here, alive and well on stage. Saint Yongan begins her speech. She talks about the chaos wrought by Yggdrasil's tree, how the monsters born from it have torn humanity apart. But instead of despair, she spreads hope. Humanity isn't done yet, she proclaims. The awakened are rising, and any one of you could be the next to protect this world. She encourages everyone to become a raider, to stand up and fight back. As the speech ends, the crowd explodes in cheers. Even Jae-hun nods in agreement, acknowledging that fighting monsters on the front lines isn't easy. That's why most people hesitate to become raiders. Jae-hun is a walking contradiction. He once planned to sell Odin's eye just to avoid the raider life, a clear sign of how badly he wanted out. As he walks with Kim Yoo-jun, she can't stop gushing about Saint Yongan, while Jae-hun keeps teasing her, clearly enjoying her flustered reactions. At one point, he casually mentions that he already called her mom to come pick her up because of her terrible sense of direction. Embarrassed, she offers him a ride too, but he declines, saying he has other things to do. Before leaving, he drops a bombshell. He's switching to the magic major, and she'll need to tutor him. Then, without giving any reason, he walks off, leaving her confused and disappointed. Jae-hun soon spots Saint Yongan's car nearby and heads toward it with a confident smile. But as he approaches, her manager blocks his path, clearly annoyed. No fan visits, the man snaps. Assuming Jae-hun is just another pushy admirer, he warns him to respect the director's privacy and adds that even Yongan herself would be irritated by this intrusion. But Jae-hun stands his ground. I'm not here for an autograph, he says. I'm here to meet Director Yongan. His voice is calm, but resolute. The encounter is about to turn serious. To convince Saint Yongan's manager, Jae-hun makes a shocking claim. He knows about the untreatable disease she's hiding, and he's the only one who can cure it. The manager is instantly furious, grabbing him by the collar and demanding answers. But Jae-hun stays calm and gestures toward the crowd, reminding him not to make a scene. Just then, Saint Yongan herself rolls down the window. Can you stand by those words? She asks. Yes, he replies confidently. She's skeptical but intrigued. Though hesitant to trust him, his unwavering confidence forces her to take the risk. She orders her manager to arrange a private meeting with the boy, once alone. She gets straight to the point. How do you know about my illness? Jae-hun apologizes but refuses to explain. If she pushes for answers, he won't treat her at all. Amused by his bluntness, she shifts to the next question. How do you plan to treat me? Jae-hun reveals his goal. He wants to copy her sacrifice skill. That stuns her. The manager erupts, accusing Jae-hun of being delusional. Do you even know what a unique skill is? He yells. For clarity, unique skills are S-rank. Rare abilities passed down by bloodline or born from singular manifestation. They can't be copied, ever, because they lack a formula. They're considered impossible to replicate, forming the backbone of powerful guilds and legendary families. And yet, Jae-hun says he's going to copy one. Jae-hun, calm and composed, reassures both Saint Yeongan and her furious manager. If I didn't know exactly what I was doing, I wouldn't have come here. Yeongan, intrigued, signals her manager to stand down. Let's just hear him out. She turns to Jae-hun and asks again, are you really capable of pulling this off? Absolutely, he says with confidence. Then comes a deeper revelation about her unique skill. Small Blue Diamond's sacrifice can't be used on herself. Because the skill requires offering one's vitality to the gods, it demands a recipient. It heals others at the cost of the caster. But she can't cast it on herself, no matter how badly she needs it. Even more troubling, to heal the damage it's done to her, she'd need a skill equal or greater in rank, which simply doesn't exist. Until now. With a solemn nod, she activates her magic and allows Jae-hun to proceed. The moment the aura of her power surrounds him, diamond with it, the system window appears. A unique skill has been detected. Sacrifice. Register to blank card. Yes, Jae-hun replies instantly. The registration succeeds. Then, Jae-hun summons the skill into his palm. A divine light radiates from his hand, proof that the once inimitable power has now become his. Saint Yeongan and her manager stare in shock. This shouldn't be possible, but it is. Now that the skill is his, Jae-hun wisely decides to negotiate before using it to heal her. But before that, here's what we learn about the sacrifice skill. Glowing Star skill, sacrifice, S rank unique. Small Blue Diamond main effect, emits a wave of radiant healing that restores multiple allies at once and removes all debuffs. Small Blue Diamond's secondary effect, if used on undead-type enemies, the healing wave transforms into an offensive holy attack called Judgment of Light. This skill alone could make Jae-hun one of the most valued raiders in the entire country. And this is just the beginning. After witnessing Jae-hun perfectly copy her unique skill sacrifice, with no penalties thanks to the blank card, Saint Yeongan raises the all-important question. So what do you want in return? Outwardly, she keeps a calm, almost amused expression. But inwardly, she's confident this negotiation will be easy. After all, she's not just a healer. She's the representative of the Lotus Guild, one of Korea's top guilds. What can a middle schooler possibly demand? But Jae-hun doesn't flinch. He looks her straight in the eyes and says, I want your sponsorship. Her eyebrow lifts in curiosity. Just so you can grow as a raider? Yes, he answers firmly. That's my dream, to become strong. And I need your resources, connections, and support to do that. His honesty and boldness catch her off guard. And though impressed, she still pushes back. All right, I'll sponsor you. On one condition. Jae-hun pauses. Even though she's clearly the one in need, she's still confident enough to negotiate. He respects that. She explains, my illness is my personal problem. It has nothing to do with Lotus. What you're asking isn't just about me. It involves the whole guild. Why should they support you just because I say so? Jae-hun nods, then says, lay out your conditions. If they make sense, I'll decide whether or not to shake your hand. Inside, he's prepared for anything. A manipulation, a trap, a debt he'll have to repay later. But then she says something unexpected. Join the Lotus Guild. Jae-hun blinks in surprise. Wait, are you serious? Completely, she replies. Her expression is sincere now. She sees his potential, and if he's going to rise, she wants him on her side. Jae-hun listens quietly as Lady Yeongan lays out her reasoning, and it's unsettlingly thorough. 1. He somehow discovered her classified medical condition, something only a handful of top-level guild members know. That alone proves his information-gathering ability is no joke. 2. He copied her unique skill, a feat thought to be impossible. It wasn't just mimicry either. He did it with such precision that even she, the original user of sacrifice, felt the weight of his power. She admits she's curious, maybe, even a little shaken, and wants to keep him close. 3. Then, leaning in just a little too close, she says softly, and the third reason is your guts. Even as a middle schooler, you didn't flinch in front of me, the guild master of Lotus. I like that. Jae-hun's face heats up at the praise, though he hides it with a neutral expression. He's thinking, if only she knew the real reason, that I've already lived this timeline once. He's relying entirely on his regression knowledge and his cheat system. But of course, he can't tell her that. Then a deeper thought hits him. In his previous life, the Lotus Guild collapsed soon after her death. If she lives this time around, maybe, just maybe, I can change everything. And joining Lotus now? It might level him up faster than anything else. But there's one obvious problem. I'm still underage. Jae-hun mutters, more to himself. Contracting with minors is illegal. So how can she? She smiles knowingly. You've heard of the right of priority negotiation, haven't you? Of course he has. Quick explanation. The right of priority negotiation is a legal clause in the Raider Act. It allows guilds to sponsor minors, trainee raiders, without an official contract. In return, once the trainee becomes an adult, the guild gets the first right to sign a formal contract before any other guild can make an offer. Jae-hun sighs internally. She's really covering all the bases. This offer is legit and, honestly, too good to pass up.